What's up guys? My name is Kevin Griffith and this is the Holler Barbecue. As you just saw, we got the pit barrel cooker fired up again. And today we're gonna be doing some giant beef ribs. So sit right there and let's get to going. What's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I decided to do something that I haven't done for you yet. So I went and found these things and we'll talk about how we do that. So what we're gonna do today is some beef short ribs. These are gonna be the really big, I don't know if they're gonna qualify as DINO ribs, but they're pretty big, so they should have a ton of meat on them. I'll show you what I got here. So I got these from a local butcher. It's where I found them at. So this is it's just labeled as short ribs. Now this was a higher end butcher shop that I went to. This is a place that has $35 a pound steaks. So these were gonna be a little bit more expensive, but that's okay. I had them trim them down so it took a little bit of the weight off. They weigh 4 pounds and 4.3 pounds, and they were $9 a pound. So these came out to $38.70. So I know these big ribs like this can be kind of hard to find. You kind of have to know what to ask for. So if you go into your grocery store and they have short ribs, which are these, but they're usually cut like this way so that the bones are rather short, but there's the meat, let me show you. So here's your bones, and your meat's basically sitting on top of them. See, this side's gonna be a little bit better. So you have tons of meat, you know, sitting right on top of the bones. And that's what the short ribs are. Now when you go in and ask for big ones like this, you might have to have them cut them because they probably already cut them into short ones. And they might not know the term DINO ribs or Fred Flintstone ribs or whatever, but this is called beef plate short ribs. Ask for that, ask for the plate, and usually it'll come in 3 to 4 bones. This was 3 bones, so quite a bit of meat there. And that's how you find them. It took me a while to find a place that carried them, that I could just get them straight from them. What I had them do too, since I'm in the butcher shop, might as well have them clean them up. So they took the layer of fat and silver skin off the top, cleaned them up pretty good. So I'm turn back around. Now I forgot to ask them what grade these things were. I'm assuming they're a higher graded choice. They could be touching prime. There's quite a bit of nice marbling through these whole things. They didn't have them labeled. It's just a local butcher shop. But like I said, they do sell like high-end stuff in there. They age their own meat, so it should be very good quality stuff. Now how we're gonna season these things up today is gonna be super simple. First thing, we're gonna put a binder on the outside, and all I'm gonna be using is just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Now, you could put hot sauce, you could put an oil, anything else, or you don't have to put anything at all. I'm just putting a little bit of this Worcestershire sauce. And I'm gonna get both sides of it. Even though this side's not really going to absorb anything, but I do want some seasoning to stick to this. And then for our seasoning, also super simple. We're gonna start out with some salt. And this is a salt that I've been using for quite a while now. Jacobsen sea salt. This is made up here in Oregon. Super good stuff. And then for my pepper, this is the one that I use. Get that in there. So this is from Costco. This is their coarse ground Malabar black pepper. It's really chunky pepper. That's why I like it. We're gonna start off with these two. So just salt it up. Then we'll come back and put our pepper on after. This way we can see the salt that's on here. We don't want to over salt it, because I'm going to be using a rub also. It does have some salt in it. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit it with black pepper. I also do not want a ton of this either. If you want more black pepper, just add it. All right, and then for our rub, I'm going to be using, this is Grilleye Grill's beef rub. If you guys hadn't tried this, it's amazing on beef. So I figured we would put it on to our ribs today. This is gonna help add a little bit extra color on it. Plus it's got all kind of seasonings and spices in there. It's gonna make it really good. I'm not gonna rub it, I'm just gonna kind of just pat it in. Just so that it sticks really good. And I'm gonna flip it up and get this side. I'm not too worried about salting or peppering this side. And let's get this in. All right, and then we will flip it over, and just a little bit on the bone side. Now, as you see, I left the membrane here. So we're gonna be hanging these in the pit barrel, and I don't want any chance of these things falling off. Once that meat starts going tender, I don't want them to rip apart, and that this membrane is going to hold them really good for us. And because the meat sits on top of the bones, we're not gonna be eating that membrane later. It's just gonna come right off the top of the bone, so we should be good there. All right, and that's how we're gonna season it up. And then to get it ready for the smoker, I'm actually going to be using one of Pit Barrel's regular hooks. I'm gonna try to get it into the center right here. And that's how we're going to hang it. All right, I'm gonna let this sit on the counter and rest for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll get it on the smoker. All right, the pit barrel is ready to go, so let's go ahead and get these on. All right, so nothing special here. We're just gonna go ahead and hang them in. Try to get it, I'm just trying to get it in the center. Doesn't really matter. And then let's get the lid closed up. Now, as far as temperature goes, you know, pit barrel's designed to go between 275 to 310 if you light it the way they say, and you know, and mine's pretty consistent. It runs about between 280 to 290 degrees. So that's the temperature we're gonna be cooking at. And we're gonna cook this thing kind of similar like brisket. It's not gonna be as long of a cook as brisket, but what we're gonna do is it's gonna go for maybe between 2 to 3 hours. And I'm gonna wrap. I think I'm gonna use butcher paper. I haven't totally decided yet, but I think we're gonna use butcher paper to wrap. Probably when it hits around between 160 to 170. If it's not dark enough for me, I might just go a little bit further, but we'll deal with that later. We'll see what it looks like. And then once it's wrapped, basically we go till it's about 200, 204 degrees and just probe it and see how tender the meat is. And that's when we'll be done. I'm anticipating this to be around 6 to 7 hours today. So we'll talk about times later. But right now, we just got it in the smoker. We're gonna let it do its thing. All right, guys, stay tuned. All right, guys, we've been cooking for about 3 hours now. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So you can see that we got lots of drawback from the bones. It's looking really good. So I think I want to go ahead and wrap it now. So let me get over here and we're actually going to wrap it up in some pink butcher paper. All right, so let's go ahead and get this hook out of here. Let's check it real quick just to see where we're at right now. It's where we want to go to close to 200 degrees. About 180 over there in that part. About 175 on this side. All right, so we're between 175 and 180 right now. So looking good. So let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up, and then we're gonna get our racks into the pit barrel, and that's the way we'll finish it off. Let's see if we can get this whole thing covered up real good. So. And you can see I'm just leaving these little tabs flipped around the bottom. That's gonna help hold it in. And this butcher paper, what it's gonna help do is it's gonna help create a little bit of steam inside there and start breaking this meat down so we can get really tender. We probably still have at least another 2 hours, possibly 3. But like I said, we'll talk about that later. Let's get the smoker set back up. All right, so first thing we need to take a bar out. And get our rack in. And I'll just set these basically right in the middle. Trying to fold any paper under as much as possible. Now, even though we're not using the bars, we need to put them back in because this thing was designed for the proper airflow with these in. So always keep these in. All right, our hardest part of the cook's done. Now we'll check it later. Like I said, we want to hit about 200, 204 degrees, and we want it to be super tender when we put our probe in. All right, guys, it's been a couple of hours since we wrapped this thing. Let's take a look at it real quick just to see where we are. All I'm gonna remove this bar just so I can get to it easier. Try to work quickly here so that we don't make the fire go up too much. Now we can just peel back this paper. So that was about 190 right there. $182 over there. And I'm also feeling how easy it goes in here too. It's starting to go easier than it was, which tells me we're almost there. But we still got some time left. So right there we're about 190 also. So we still got a little bit of time left. Let me go ahead and get this thing wrapped back up. Get our bar back in. Close it down. All right, next time we'll be about done. So stay tuned. All right guys, so we are right about the 7-hour mark now. And I did probe them just a minute ago inside the cooker, and they're starting to be very, very tender. And the temperature was right at 200. So let's take a look at them. Just see here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you can actually see they're a little bit jiggly. And if you put your probe in like this, you should just go through really easy. Like I'm pretty sure I could just, see, I could just pull some of this off right now. Super juicy, but it's super easy to go through. So we're gonna call these good. And what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna wrap it back up and I'm going to let it rest. Now I don't have time to let it rest for an hour in a cooler or anything like that. So I'm gonna let it rest 10-15 minutes and then we're gonna cut into it and see it. This is our dinner tonight and we gotta get going on it. So let me let it rest up and we'll be right back. All right guys, these things have been resting up long enough now. I'm ready to get into them. Let me get them out of these papers. Let me go ahead and set them out. You can see how the meat just pulled way back from the bones. You can see how juicy these things are already. But real test is let's cut into them. So you want to go in between the bone. You have a pretty big area to work with. Don't saw at it. Just let the knife do the work here. All right. Now there's got to be about, there's at least a pound of meat on here. We got that big one right here.
Got a really nice smoke ring going on. And they are definitely juicy, ready to come off the bone. All right, guys, it's time to get into one of these things. But still, look how, see if I can get that. Look how juicy they are, man. Let me go ahead and get a bite here, and let's see what we're working with. Oh man, these dudes are, look how big this thing is. Put it up to my arm. There we go. These are pretty awesome. Let me get another one. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you got any questions or comments, let me know below. And if you do these, also tell me what you think. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and always holler back.